Welcome back to today's news recap, where we bring you the most important headlines from around the globe. From deadly storms in the U.S. to escalating tensions in the Middle East, we've got a lot to cover. Let's jump right into the top stories of the day. Hurricane Helene's devastation in the U.S. Hurricane Helene has wreaked havoc across the southeastern United States, claiming the lives of at least 65 people in Florida, Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. The storm has caused catastrophic flooding, especially in parts of North Carolina and Tennessee, where recovery efforts are still ongoing. Authorities fear that the death toll will rise as more people are accounted for. Unicoi County in Tennessee remains one of the hardest-hit areas, with officials reporting that 73 people are still missing. Alongside the human toll, there have been devastating losses to agriculture, livestock, pets, and wildlife. In response to the disaster, President Biden has approved major disaster declarations for 4 states: Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Tennessee, ensuring that federal resources will be available to aid in recovery efforts. The president expressed his condolences to the families of those who lost loved ones and promised that no effort will be spared in helping affected communities rebuild. Chemical fire in Georgia forces evacuations. A fire at a chemical plant in Conyers, Georgia, has led to expanded evacuation orders as toxic smoke continues to spread across the region. The fire broke out at Biolab Inc., a company that manufactures chemicals for pools, after a malfunctioning sprinkler system mixed with a water-reactive substance. Residents living between I-20 and Sigmund Road have been told to evacuate, while other areas have been placed under stay-at-home orders to avoid exposure to the hazardous smoke. In an effort to ensure public safety, parts of the highway have been blocked off, and local animal shelters have also been evacuated. This is not the first time Biolab has faced such a crisis. In 2020, the same facility was involved in a similar fire caused by the decomposition of chlorine-based products. Officials are now investigating the current situation and taking precautionary measures to prevent further risks. Kamala Harris visits the U.S.-Mexico border. Vice President Kamala Harris made her second visit to the U.S.-Mexico border, this time stopping in Douglas, Arizona, where she was joined by Arizona Senator Mark Kelly. During her visit, the vice president received a briefing on border security and later spoke at a campaign event, outlining her plans to address illegal immigration if elected in 2024. Harris announced her intention to revive a border security bill, which she claims was blocked by former President Trump, and emphasized increasing funding for border enforcement. One of the most controversial parts of her plan is to prevent individuals from claiming asylum if they fail to enter the U.S. through official checkpoints. As border security continues to be a central issue in the upcoming election, Harris's visit is expected to play a significant role in her campaign efforts. Argentina's poverty crisis deepens. Argentina is grappling with an alarming rise in poverty, with the poverty rate surpassing 50% during the first half of 2024. This marks a sharp increase from 41.7% at the end of 2023 and is largely attributed to President Javier Milei's austerity measures, which aim to reduce the country's fiscal deficit. While Milei's spending cuts have been welcomed by financial markets, they have led to significant economic hardship for ordinary Argentinians. Inflation remains in triple digits, and the nation is in the grip of a deep recession. The government has scaled back many welfare programs, but continues to support initiatives like the Universal Child Allowance and food card programs. However, these measures have done little to alleviate the strain on the population. Agustin Salvia, an economic analyst, noted that while there were sharp declines in the early months of the year, recent weeks have shown slight signs of stabilization. Government spokesperson Manuel Adorni acknowledged the severity of the crisis but blamed previous administrations for much of the country's economic woes. He reiterated that Milei's administration is committed to tackling poverty, but recovery will be slow. U.S. healthcare system ranked last among wealthy nations. A recent report by the Commonwealth Fund ranked the United States healthcare system last among 10 wealthy nations, which included countries like Canada, the UK, and Germany. The report highlighted significant issues with accessibility and poor health outcomes, noting that the U.S. placed last in both categories. One of the most alarming statistics is the U.S.'s life expectancy, which now stands at 77.5 years, more than 4 years below the average of other wealthy countries. Affordability remains a major concern, as over 40% of Americans reported paying at least $1,000 out of pocket for medical expenses last year. Despite the Affordable Care Act, 26 million Americans remain uninsured. In comparison to countries like Germany and the Netherlands, which offer 24-hour access to healthcare providers, Americans often struggle to get care outside of regular office hours. Joseph Batencourt, president of the Commonwealth Fund, stated, "Our healthcare system continues to lag far behind other nations when it comes to meeting basic healthcare needs." Biden calls for de-escalation in the Middle East. President Joe Biden has voiced his concerns about escalating violence in the Middle East, stating that an all-out war must be avoided at all costs. The president's remarks came as Israeli airstrikes in Lebanon killed dozens over the weekend, including top Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah. Tensions between Israel and Hezbollah have been escalating for nearly a year, with both sides engaging in frequent rocket attacks and airstrikes. Tens of thousands of civilians in Israel and Lebanon have been forced to evacuate due to the ongoing violence. The Biden administration has been pushing for a diplomatic resolution to the crisis, with White House officials, including National Security spokesman John Kirby, advocating for a temporary ceasefire. Kirby noted that while Nasrallah's death is a significant blow to Hezbollah's leadership, the group is likely to rebuild. The situation remains fluid, and the U.S. is keeping a close watch on developments in the region. That's all for today's news recap. We'll continue to follow these major stories and bring you updates as they develop. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.